Bogcast.
Hello everybody and welcome to this week's episode of the Bogcast. Now this week I personally think we've got three really interesting topics to talk about.
Yes.
Obviously all three of us are here, ready to go. So the first topic I shall let Samuel introduce. Samuel, what have you got for us?
Thank you, Granville. I'm actually, like you said, really exciting topics this week. The first one that I will notify you, dear listeners, of is bizarre world records, and we're going to do our best to unveil the extraordinary to you. Maybe we'll give you some stats that you've never heard before. So we will be exploring the fascinating world of obscure and the unusual world records, from the longest fingernails to the most bizarre eating challenges. We're going to discuss the stories behind these records and the individuals who achieved these weird and wacky records. We're going to delve into the motivation behind pursuing such unique feats, and we will be examining the cultural and psychological aspects of record-breaking endeavours. Now, on to the second one. I'll pass you over to our good friend Hoosh.
And if you're still awake after that waffle, we're going to be discussing our second topic, which is cryptids and mythical creatures. Ooh. Fact or fiction? We'll be discussing legendary beings like Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, and Mother Shipton, exploring eyewitness accounts, alleged evidence, and scientific explanations of these creatures.
Oh, tell you what, Hoosh, that sounds fascinating. Over to you, Granville. Can you tell us about the third and final topic?
Yeah, so our third and final topic is unsolved mysteries from, the history of the world.
That makes sense. Yes.
Particularly, should I say, puzzling enigmas. We're going to delve into unsolved mysteries and enigmas from the history, as we've said, that continue to this day to baffle researchers and historians. Topics like Voynich manuscript, the disappearance of Roanoke colony, and the identity of Jack the Ripper. And I think whilst we're at it, we should discuss the various theories and hypotheses put forward to help solve these mysteries and speculate on the possible outcomes.
Well, could you imagine if we do that?
Well,
maybe that, dear listener, that is why you're here.
Well, it's why we're all here, and I'm sure we all share our excitement for what we might find on these three great topics today on the podcast.
Right, and before we jump onto the first topic, which is, of course, the Bizarre World Records, which we are very excited for.
Yes.
Everyone's favourite part. We are delighted to announce this episode's sponsor of the podcast. So, sponsoring the podcast this week is Linda's Runny Pies.
Yeah, can I just ask? I mean, these are lovely, but why are Linda's Runny Pies runny?
I mean, are you trying? We've got three on the table now.
Yes, but what makes them runny?
I think it's the ingredients, I would say.
Do you know any of the ingredients?
I think she puts water in them, actually.
Okay. Well, anyway, thank you for Linda's Runny Pies for sponsoring this episode of the Bogcast. And
we do have an excellent promotion.
What is the promo code?
So if you go to www.lindasrunnypies.com.co.uk and you see, I think at the moment they've got 6 flavours. There's meat, there's carrot and meat, there's meat and meat. So they're great. So if you buy...
Can I just interrupt, Rugg? I have had the carrot and meat, and it was quite honestly one of the nicest pies I've ever had.
What part was runny for you?
The carrots.
I must say, the one I found runny was the spicy arsenic, which was... It was an interesting flavour, but...
Oh, I think that is actually in the carrot and meat one, I think. Or it could be the meat or the meat one.
Well, I did wonder. I did feel a bit headachy after, but what's the promo?
We are trying to sell these, Hoosh, because they have kindly sponsored us. So,
well, let's give us the promo code. What's the promo code? Then our listeners can work it out for themselves.
So the promo code is, listeners, if you do want to try these lovely pies, go to the website as previously explained and use code UP for up to 3% off or 4% on. Thank you very much for sponsoring us.
So that was great. Thanks, guys, for that. And obviously thanks to Linda's Runny Pies for sponsoring this podcast. Now, on to the first topic of bizarre world records.
World records.
So I think this one might stump you both. My world record goes all the way back to 1933.
That is quite a while ago.
It is. My record is that there was a man...
This was your record?
Yeah, well, no, not my record. My record
this is the record you're bringing to the table.
To the group.
Right.
A man holds the Guinness World Record, and bearing in mind Guinness wasn't invented then, but he still held the Guinness record.
I think it was. I think you're wrong about that.
Very much not. So, the world record, there was a man... I think
you've said there's a man. Who is this man?
I think he lived... there was no name. He was just an unnamed man in the book, but he lived in Persia, now which is current day Iran. And this man has the world record for inserting consecutive boiled eggs up his perineum. Now, the record, still to this day from 1933, stands at 176 boiled eggs.
In what time? That is...
In 1933.
No, I mean, how long did it take him to put 170 eggs up his balloon knot?
19 minutes and 33 seconds.
Wow, I'm not very... Hoosh, are you any good at maths? Could you maybe... That sounds... Do you think that's real, or do you think that Granville is spitting a load of poo-poo there?
I think, well, obviously, this is just prior to World War II, and I think at the time, one would struggle to acquire that many eggs in such a short period of time. You would imagine the eggs would have been festering for quite a long time.
Yeah, and that's a lot of food taken from very poor families during such an awful time. So.
Exactly, and I don't understand how you would validate such a record when they're festering away there.
Yeah, so this nameless man, was it 100 and... how many eggs was it again, Granville?
It was 176 hard-boiled eggs into his perineum. Now, not his bumhole,
and
his
how
perineum.
long was that again? Did you say 50 was it something minutes?
It was 19 minutes and 33 seconds in the year 1933, which is very apt, because it's very, everything...
Well, that sounds like he was going for that record.
So, what are we all saying, everybody? Are we saying that we don't believe this is a correct world record?
I mean, there'll be a listener, I'm sure now, punching at their desk that are good at maths. I'm not sure about maths, but from the top of my head, that sounds like it could have maybe been 25 or so eggs every so often.
I think we should hear him out, because they're not necessarily...
I think he has died, Hoosh, so I don't think we can ask him.
I mean, are we sure these are... I mean, I guess we're all assuming these are chicken eggs, but if they were ostrich eggs...
Yeah, I've just quickly had a look at my notes, Hoosh, and it does in fact say these were indeed ostrich eggs. Oh no, excuse me, 6 ostrich eggs, 15 quail's eggs, 12 chicken eggs, and the rest were pigeon eggs. So it's a bit of a weird collection.
Well, pigeon eggs are generally quite a bit smaller, but I guess...
Yeah, I can imagine. To be honest, I'd have a good go with pigeon eggs up my perineum. But ostrich eggs are quite large.
I think you'd have to start with the pigeon eggs first.
Yeah.
You'd really have to
warm
an
up
ostrich egg in first.
You'd have to warm the shit pipe up sufficiently with a smaller sized egg, I think.
Well, yeah, I mean, I take all your points, and they are all valid points, but... this unnamed man deserves a lot of credit, because this is indeed a validated Guinness Book of World Records record. So I think moving on, we'll go to our friend over there, Rugg. Rugg, what is your extraordinary or bizarre world record that you have for us?
Well, it's more of a fact, really.
Oh, let us hear it.
Amazingly, which I was quite surprised at, Satsumas were actually... invented by a man in Norfolk.
Whereabouts in Norfolk?
Norfolk.
Okay. Is there any sort of record of when this maybe occurred?
Yes, I think it was done in during lockdown, 2020, I believe. So quite a dark time for everyone, which is obviously when the Bogcast started. Fond memories there.
We did get a lot of people through that time with the Bogcast.
So the man in question was called Rupert.
And so you're claiming that Rupert invented the Satsuma. Now, I don't know if Hoosh agrees with me here, but I'm pretty sure I had a Satsuma before lockdown.
I don't think so, no. I think that would have been a clementine.
You see, I think you might be getting your citrus fruits mixed up there a little bit. But let's backtrack a bit. We're discussing records here.
Yeah.
What is the record about this said said fruit?
You are very much correct there, Hoosh, and I maybe came out at the wrong angle, but I wanted to give everyone a bit of backstory and a bit of context into why we... I went with the fact first. So, like I said, Rupert, during lockdown, he created... which...
Satsuma, I believe you said.
It was a Satsuma. Sorry, my notes for some reason have got Vaseline on them, so I can't read.
Do we have a surname for this man so we can look him up?
It's called Rupert Goggins.
Okay, Rupert Goggins invented the Satsuma.
Right, okay, so I know this topic is not what we're talking about.
So what is your record
So
that
the
you
world
have?
record still held by Rupert Goggins from Norfolk, born in 1853.
And he's still alive?
He is. He's only 6.
Okay, I mean, I'm very perplexed.
Sorry, can you let me finish? 63. And the world record that he still has not been beaten was actually peeling a Satsuma the quickest.
I mean, how quick can you...
It gets better. It's a 2-part
record.
So he peeled it the quickest, and then he actually rubbed every single centimetre of the peel on his eyeballs.
And why would he do that? Was that a requisite part of the...
Nobody had ever done that, so he wanted 2 records.
Oh, how strange. Hoosh, what's your take on this bizarre...
I mean, to me, the word that comes to my mind is greed. Really, I mean,
do you want a bit more facts behind it?
No. Let me get my point across here.
But
I think I think you should stop interjecting a second, because I think this is quite serious. Actually, Guinness is a reputable organisation, and they would have had to send someone out.
It's a frothy beverage.
It is, but they also do world records, hence the name. Anyhow,
frothy beverage.
Anyhow, they would have had to send someone out,
and they would have thought,
"Do you know what? We're doing one record today. Let's get all this down. We'll do one record."
That's not correct.
And then
you just need to
it does two.
It
does two. It's just greed.
No, it's not.
It's greed.
It's
what would you say?
I agree with Hoosh. I do think it is greedy. I mean, most people don't even get one chance at a Guinness World Record. So Rupert Goggins getting 2.
I would say Rupert has just built different. I would say you're not even let me get to that. So his first record, he unpeeled a Satsuma in 59 minutes.
Dear me, I find that really silly. Now
that's not been beaten.
Is this the longest attempt?
No, that is the quickest.
But that's not true, because again, I don't know about you, Granville. Oh shit, I'm Granville. I'm talking to myself here. Excuse me, listeners.
You're talking out loud, Granville.
Can I just say, Rugg, you must have had a Satsuma or 2 in your lifetime.
I've never had one, actually.
Okay, then we'll move to Hoosh. Hoosh, how quickly have you eaten a Satsuma?
I mean,
not eaten. I don't think that takes long at all. They're quite small, they're very sweet, delicate little things.
I'm quite convinced I could get the local 39.5 bus to the next village.
Oh, great bus.
Buy said citrus fruit, bring it home.
Are you sure you're not getting mixed up with clementines again?
No. I could cook a roast dinner, and then for my supper, I could peel this and eat that all within 59 minutes. I just think 59 minutes...
I'm sorry, Hoosh, but your name is not in the Guinness World Records, and Rupert Goggins is. His first one was obviously that eye-watering 59 minutes to peel a Satsuma, and then he managed to do every surface inch of that peel in his eyeballs, and he did that also in 59 minutes.
If this is true, I believe there's been a clerical error here. And I'm going to have to look for a different frothy beverage, because I just don't think Guinness as a brand...
It is a frothy beverage.
I just don't think Guinness as a brand... If they're saying someone peeling a citrus fruit taking 59 minutes is a world record for speed, that I can stand there and pay £5 for a
Can I?
pint of
Can I?
that. £5 British pounds.
Sorry, Hoosh. Can I just say? Sorry, I don't know why you're shaking your head, Granville. Because this is a fully peeled orange. This is a fully peeled fruit. All them little white bits, all the thing. That was a smooth, sort of like a perineum, as smooth as that.
Honestly, I think this record really just takes the pith.
It does take the pith, and I'm quite pithed off, to be honest. I'm obviously siding with Hoosh on this one. I don't think there's any reason in the world why anybody, unless they're heavily impacted on somewhere, maybe don't have an arm or a leg or some sort of appendage to help them peel a satsuma in less than an hour. I find that preposterous, to be honest.
Fully peeled. That's all those little white bits. This is the smooth. It's like a marble, a little orange marble.
I mean, whilst I've been at work, I've had a satsuma, peeled it and ate it in about 26 seconds.
That's a clementine.
It's not a clementine, because I'm allergic to clementines. I come out in a massive rash. I get
Where does the rash form?
I get a lot of flatulence. That is from clementines. I don't get that from satsuma, so I'm with Hoosh on this one.
I'm sorry, you didn't fully peel it, and there isn't a Guinness representative here.
I don't think this is an extraordinary fact, and I don't know.
I think this is incredible.
It's not. It's preposterous.
Well, I am happy to be the odd one out. Hoosh, why don't we come over to you and you tell us about the third extraordinary world record?
Well, I don't think we need to start this one with facts, or facts even. What we need to do is set the scene, really.
Oh, okay.
As a child, as a child, sort of around mid-December to sort of mid-January.
Yes.
You'd be going out into the snow, looking for a nice hill and thinking, I'm going to sled down that bad boy. And then you always think, how far can I go on that sled? And there is a world record, believe it or not, for the world's longest downhill sled.
Right.
And it was 35 kilometres. 35
Granville
kilometres
is
downhill.
Laughing, he can't believe this.
Non-stop sledding for 35. Could you imagine the
How
joy?
many miles is that?
35 kilometres. I believe that's around, I'm going to say 25 miles at least.
Yeah, that sounds accurate for the mileage time period.
So you believe somebody went down one hill for 25 miles, but you can't accept that a man peeled a satsuma in 59 minutes, picked it clean, it was like a smooth orange marble.
I'm struggling to get this and ascertain how this is possible, because I'm not sure of anywhere hilly enough and mountainous enough that would be a solid downward incline, or decline, I should say, for 25 miles whilst on a sled. Now, the tallest mountain in the world is Mount Everest, as we well know. But it's a very dangerous descent, is that mountain, and I'm not sure you could go down that on a sled. Yeah,
I don't think he'd be using a sleigh from Halfords either. Oh.
I think what you're both wrongly assuming here is that this world record took place on Earth, but the world was actually Jupiter. This was Guinness Jupiter World Records.
Wow. Is the Guinness on Jupiter?
I believe so.
Or would they, would they just get a shuttle there specifically for this?
I've heard Elon Musk has been sending out his...
Is that the man built like a child slide?
I believe his body type is referred to as a refrigerator.
Yes.
Specifically from the 60s. But anyway, we're getting sidetracked here.
So, Hoosh, my question is, that's all well and good. What was the name of this lady, and sort of why is she in the Jupiter Guinness Book of Records?
Well, she was called Sally Metcalf. She was a 6-year-old girl from Luton. She won a prize.
Was it any Guinness? Did she win Guinness?
Unfortunately, she was under the age of 65, so she wasn't able to to receive the crate of Guinness that was going up for the contest. But fortunately, Elon Musk stepped in and shuttled her off to Jupiter with a sled. They got the sled from B&M Baggins.
Yeah, classic Tesla.
And miraculously, it survived the atmosphere, and she did the record. I mean, I think this is this is one of the greatest accolades of human endeavour. What would you say? What do you think?
I mean, if this is in the Guinness Book of Records, then this is absolutely flabbergasting. And fair play to Sally Metcalf. I don't know what you think, Rugg, but I'm very impressed by this. I mean, sledding for more than 20 metres is an achievement. I mean, the pressure of that atmosphere on Jupiter, Sally should have ended up looking like a can of chum. So
yes, I think Sally should, what the kids would say, is be brown bread.
Yeah, she should have really passed on to the other realm. She didn't. She completed it, and now she's a Guinness World Record holder. So I think. Do
we have an idea of time, Hoosh? How long did she? What did she do it in?
I believe she was in free fall for over 35 hours, which actually
that sounds about right. Yeah,
that means about 1 hour a kilometre, which isn't actually that fast.
So that's quite pathetic. I think I could beat that.
Well, what you've got to realise is the gravity on Jupiter is a lot lower, so there is a lot less force, so it's going to naturally be a lot slower.
I see. Right, okay. Well, I don't know which one was my favourite. Obviously, you two took quite a big issue with mine, and I thought what Raymond did was quite incredible. And I'm not sure if I do believe about this Jupiter one. As you know, we've not even been to the moon since the 60s. So that's where I stand on it.
So with all that being said, I think it's about time we move on to...
is it the next segment?
It is the next segment. What I will say is if there's any people that are listening...
let's hope so, eh?
Well, we hope you're listening. Maybe you leave a comment. Tell us, tweet us or X us, whatever it's called now, whatever Elon's changed it to, and tell us which one your favourite was, which of the three world records. Anyway, let's move on to our second topic, which is cryptids and mythical creatures. Fact or fiction? Now, in the intro, you'll have heard Hoosh mention, obviously, the obvious cryptids like Bigfoot. I think everybody knows Bigfoot. Everybody knows the Loch Ness Monster.
The fun thing about Bigfoot is he only wore a size 8.
Yeah, I mean, that's quite funny, isn't it? Like, you'd have thought Bigfoot would have been at least a size 12. Again, Loch Ness Monster. We know about him. Many names: Loch Ness Monster, Craig, Pat. Anyway, and obviously the third one, which Hoosh mentioned, was obviously the world famous Mother Shipton. Now, I'm sure I heard rumours that Mother Shipton was actually working in a canteen somewhere.
No, I believe it's actually pronounced Madre Shipton.
Of course. So, whatever we call it.
She lived in a cave in Knaresborough, and I believe she...
excuse me, can you just explain to the listeners where Knaresborough is, for those that don't know?
No problem. It's a town, and it's in a location. It's a town.
That's great. So, yeah, Mother Shipton or Madre Shipton. She is obviously one of the three that Hoosh mentioned. We're... correct me if I'm wrong, we're not going to be speaking about those three. We're going to be talking about a few obscure cryptids.
Yeah, I believe everyone's kind of brought their own to the table, which is, of course, classic Bogcast.
So, obviously, Rugg, you went first last time. Shall we maybe...
I think I'll go last. That was a lot of pressure.
That's fine. We'll pass over to Hoosh. We'll let Hoosh go first, and he can pick his very first cryptid. I want it to be shocked, and I want us to be surprised here on the Bogcast.
Well, I don't know if shocked is going to be the word to describe what you're about to hear, but flabbergasted might be the word. Now, have you ever heard of the Weatherby Whaler?
I believe that's...
I'm going to interject. I know what you're thinking, but it's not.
It's not a postcard.
It's not a postcard. No, it's a man that used to catch whales in the river that runs through Weatherby.
I don't believe there's whales in that river.
Well, this is where you're wrong, because back in the 18th century, it was...
when was that?
The 18th century.
Oh, right. Okay, thanks for clarifying.
So around 1759, that was the 18th century, and that's when the Weatherby Whaler catched his first whale.
He catched them, did What did he catch him with, Hoosh?
He used a standard issued fishing rod from the MOD.
The Military of Defence supply fishing rods. whales.
They did back then because there was a real problem with whales. They're almost seen as the
Are you
enemy.
sure you don't mean the country whales?
No, no, definitely whales.
Now, yeah, this is an interesting one to me. I have heard of the Weatherby whaler. Whether this was named from the legends that you have aforementioned, there is indeed a fish and chip shop in Weatherby named the Weatherby Whaler, and ironically it's also one of the nicknames I gave to one of my ex-girlfriends, which, you know, we don't need to go into as to why she was called that, but
No.
there you go. Rugg, I'm going to come to you. What's your take of this cryptid? Have you ever heard of him?
We're talking about cryptids here, and this is just a man that caught fish.
But we're not saying that the man was a cryptid. We're saying the whales he used to catch were the cryptids.
Sorry, that wasn't made clear. So I would like a refund.
Well, yeah, consider yourself refunded.
That's great.
So,
Thanks.
Hoosh, do you want to perhaps clarify the certain cryptid we are talking about here?
Well, the cryptid itself is the whole story, really. You know, it's about a man who solely caught a giant whale on his own. In fact, he did it multiple times, hence the plural whaler. So what do you think to that?
So there was a man that caught whales in small rivers in West Yorkshire.
I believe at the time it was actually the East Riding of Yorkshire, but go ahead.
There's no need to be like that, is there?
No, with their silly noises aside, this feels
that was
to
interference.
me. This
wasn't
feels
me.
to me more like an interesting fact rather than a cryptid, because I think we can wrap this up and then we'll move on to the next cryptid shortly.
But this isn't a cryptid; it's a whale.
No, it's a cryptid because there is no evidence to suggest that this actually happened. Much like there's no evidence that the Loch Ness exists, unless you can prove otherwise.
I can't.
I mean, I did have a tyre changed in a Glamorgan by the Loch Ness, so I can, in fact, prove his existence. But anyway, let's. You did say you wanted to go last, Rugg, so I, Granville III, will go second. Ironically, and
That's
my
how maths
cryptid
works.
is it's a rumour of a cryptid. This person, as we usually get on these, has never actually been sighted. Person, beast, creature. But I heard very, very strong rumours that ex-Chelsea defender John Terry was in fact half a crustacean, half human. And when he goes to bed, he T-poses upside down from the ceiling, which is
Right.
very, very peculiar. Now, where this information has come from, I don't have a source.
I bet it's from that right back for Manchester City that fell out with him.
It could
Was
quite.
it Wayne Bridges? Was
it
that
could-
his name, or is he a character from The Bill? I can't work out. It's one of the two.
I think he was both.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Do you two want to discuss? So yes, my
So-
cryptid is John Terry, who's half crustacean. Excuse me.
Can you tell us what a crustacean is, please, Granville?
I can, yeah. So anybody that likes seafood, so if you're not aware, that's food that comes from the sea.
Oh, right. Okay.
A crustacean is like a little crab, or it's like a little sea animal with a shell. So John Terry is half crustacean.
So
half-
where's his shell?
His shell remains hidden under his Chelsea shirt, which you never actually see. So I'm wondering, Hoosh and Rugg, what do you make of this?
Well, firstly, this isn't one I've heard before, but I did hear a rumour that Thierry Henry was actually half human, half isopod, which is also a crustacean. And I'm just wondering if there's a bit of an overlap with the name there. Do you know, obviously Thierry Henry is, very similar to John Terry.
That's an excellent point, and that maybe we can sort of maybe shoehorn them together into the same category, that Thierry Henry and John Terry are both crustacean human hybrids that sleep in a T-pose upside down.
Yeah,
That's-
I mean, this to me, of everything we've been discussing on this episode of the podcast, this to me, this feels right. This feels real.
I'm glad you say that, Rugg. It does seem believable. There have been eyewitness reports of, people that live next door to said footballer, seeing them hanging upside down, T-posing in their windows with a shell.
Is that what crustaceans do?
As far as I'm aware, yes.
Right, I don't think I've...
I believe that's something bats do. Are bats crustaceans?
I don't think so. No, I think bats they're men that they have a cape and
Well, yes, you are correct. Bats also hang upside down in caves, but polar bears also walk as we do. So I think we'll allow crustaceans and bats to hang upside down.
That ticks every box for me.
One of the things I would like to mention about cryptids is Bigfoot, the Wendigo. All those sort of things, they instill an element of fear in you. I'm not sure if I saw John Terry with a shell that I'd be scared in the slightest.
Well, it makes sense with all those big blocks he used to do, didn't
yes,
it?
But I pass it over to you guys. Would you be scared if you saw John Terry or Thierry Henry with a shell on the back and T-posing? Would that instill fear?
Not at all. Not for me. No.
I think for me, I'm struggling to see where the threat is here.
It's just that sounds like positives to me, Hoosh.
I think in this day and age where you've got the today it's all about inclusion, especially in football. We've got the women's game, we've got disability sports.
Absolutely.
Why can't we have a crustacean team?
Crustacean FC.
Yes, amen to that. I think Hoosh makes a valid point. Have you anything to add on that, Rugg?
No, I absolutely believe it. John Terry is a crustacean.
Okay. So, with that being said, let's move on to our third cryptid. This comes to you, Rugg. What is your cryptid? What's your rumour?
I do actually have this. If you go on YouTube, it's been trending from actual yesterday.
Interesting.
So it's quite surprising, but amazingly, so the character, I believe she's called June, that played Dot Cotton.
Oh, June Brown.
She was actually Nosferatu. And I believe that has been confirmed as well, because there was a body that was drained of blood not far away from the laundrette, and it smelt of cigarettes.
Yeah, but can I just say, Rugg?
No.
This isn't a cryptid.
That
is an actress
No.
playing a character.
No,
it's not
she's actually
a divine
Nosferatu.
beast hidden in a wood, is it? Nosferatu was a character played in a film.
No, Nosferatu is a bold vampire.
Who was an actor.
No, not true.
So we're saying Nosferatu is in fact real, and it was the one and only Dot Cotton, a.k.a. June Brown.
Yes,
who was,
and she got a job.
Passed on to the other realm, God bless her.
Well, yeah, she obviously didn't get enough blood. But yeah.
She did live to the age of, I think she was 93, so maybe the blood-sucking...
In Nosferatu years, she's thousands.
You see, June was obviously known for her role in EastEnders, and in later life, more unfortunately, she was known for her role in the back of a black London cab.
Yes,
but
she was.
I just don't see how she'd have the capacity to... partake in such a heinous crime.
Well, June being June and being Dot Cotton, that wasn't her. That was actually her side hustle. She was Nosferatu, a bold vampire, blood-sucking demon.
So, okay, I take both of your points on board. Obviously, she did tar the end of her career being in the back of that black London cab.
She did.
She did. But I can see her as being a cryptid if indeed that is proved she was Nosferatu. So there three really, really interesting cryptids, I think, there. Which,
yes, I'd be interested to see the listeners' thoughts of those.
I would. And again, like we said before, follow us on X or Twitter or whatever you used, our Instagram page at Bogcast. Or just leave a comment on the video. Again, what your favourite of our three cryptids was, and perhaps any ideas for any future episodes. Now, we're going to move on to the third and final section of this week's podcast, which is going to be Unsolved Mysteries from History.
And yes, to make things more exciting this week, we've got a special guest who's flown out all the way from Kentucky.
So, yes, as Hoosh says, we're joined this week by the, well, everybody knows him, but I'm going to introduce him anyway, the legendary Ray Fudge. Ray, welcome to the Bogcast. How are you doing, Ray?
Well, thank you very much, Granville, and the guys for inviting me on Bogcast. Me and my wife, we listen to it religiously every week.
Oh, it's nice to hear. That's really cool.
Shut up. I believe you got me to fly out because we're talking about unsolved mysteries.
Very much so.
So this one has been puzzling me for quite some time.
Okay, hit us with it. Give us your best
So
shot.
have you guys ever seen Pringles?
I've quite often enjoyed a can of Pringles. Have you, Hoosh?
Yeah, I'm quite fond of Pringles. Like they say, once you pop, you can't stop.
No, that is true. I did pop my Pringle cherry. Quite young, I think, in my life. And yeah, I agree, Ray. They're moreish.
I'm very particular to the beef and onion ones.
Yeah, I do like beef and onion, but I think my favourite Pringle is the limited edition hog roast ones. They were lovely.
I don't think we've had that one.
Well, perhaps you haven't. I am going to have to ask Rugg. Rugg, before we move on, what is your favourite Pringles flavour?
Oh, mine is probably... I mean, it can kind of cut the side of your mouth, but I'm very impartial to salt and vinegar.
Solid choice.
Thank you.
Well, obviously, you've come all the way here today, Ray.
Yes.
Let us hear your unsolved mystery from history. What do you have for us? Is it from your home country or is it from elsewhere in the universe? Oh.
So, like I said, I'm from Kentucky. And,
Yep.
I mean, I have been awake for 43 hours, so my voice is slightly going. So I'm really sorry if I start to struggle.
That's okay. We're happy you're here. Have a sip of water.
No.
Message received. So, anyway, Ray, what is your story of your unsolved mystery? What is it?
Yeah, so like I was saying, we have some different flavours of Pringles in our country. I'm from Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
And my unsolved mysteries, well, I say mysteries, it's mystery. I suppose it could be mysteries because I have had a lot of cheapy Pringles in my time.
Okay, yes.
So, sorry, I'm wobble-gacking a little bit there, but...
That's fine. Let's get to the point.
So, basically, I buy Pringles, 5 lots of Pringles.
Yeah, we get that. We get that you like Pringles.
Yes, they're kind of like a chew, crispy chip. They come in assorted flavors. And I buy them, and I put them in the cupboard and I watch them when the Jets are on. Now, you might say from Kentucky, why do you support the Jets? I don't.
So, okay, just a quick one. Why do you watch the Jets if you don't support them?
I don't. I don't support the Jets. The only reason I watch it's the only channel I have. And none of the other shows work apart from when the Jets are on. So, the first half of the sport starts. Like I said, I don't really like the sport. And
Okay.
I take off the top of the tube of the Pringles.
Okay, Ray. Yeah, carry on.
And what I find every time I buy some darn chips, Pringle chips, they're not full to the top. And this to me is a mystery. It's really upsetting me. I can't tell you how much stress and how often I bemoan this shit, if I'm being honest.
Well, I appreciate you've flown all this way.
Yes.
And flown transatlantic and had many connecting flights.
No.
I believe the reason there is a gap in the top of the chips or crisps, we like to call them here,
Yes, they are just crisps here.
is
Right.
is to do with the pressure. Obviously, the little sort of gap at the top of the can allows
Well, it's
for
not like my
expansion.
freaking blood pressure every time I don't have a full tube of chips.
Well, the only alternative to that is having soggy chips, and I don't think you'd like that, would you?
Hey, I just want value for money. I want a full tub of chips.
Well,
He really wants a full tub of chips.
he does, Rugg. And I think, Ray, we do appreciate you've come all this way, but I think Hoosh has hit the nail right on the head there. There is a gap because any more in the tube would crush them all.
No, you're not listening to me. I understand there's a scientific reason why there's a small gap before the closure at the top. I'm not talking
So
about
why is
that.
it a mystery tube?
Because the seal has been broken and some have already been eaten. Now, I don't let my wife, she's quite fat, you see, and we're in a very body positive relationship. So she tells me when I'm putrid to look at, and I'll say the same.
Yes.
Oh, I
Yes.
think it kind of feels quite toxic, that does, Raymond
It does.
Fudge.
I agree.
What's
It does
your wife
feel
called?
She's called Fiona.
She's called Fiona Fudge.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Right. So basically, what we've got here then, Ray, is there is a small section towards the top of a tube of Pringles.
There is.
Sorry,
Your chips.
yeah, your chips. And what we're needing to ascertain here, Ray Fudge, is that this isn't to do with the small gap, which I think Hoosh was trying to talk about from a manufacturing standpoint. You think they're being eaten. So you're not getting somebody stealing your produce, basically.
That's right, sir, yes.
So what I think happening here is Fiona Fudge is
That's my wife.
maybe whilst you're asleep after watching the Jets, should perhaps
Yes,
go to
I
the
watched the Jets. I watched that. That's the only channel I have.
So my opinion is that Fiona goes and she snacks on your Pringles whilst you're asleep,
Right.
Ray. Because if there's no one else in your household, that is the mystery, and I think we should leave it there. Because to me, an unsolved mystery from the past. It's not Fiona Fudge eating Pringles. I don't know about you, Hoosh.
I mean, that sounds reasonable to me. I mean, how long has this been going on, Ray Fudge?
Well, about 18 years. I met her 2 years ago, and my Pringles have been going down dramatically for the 18 years. And my first tube of Pringles I bought was actually in 2012. So I love those chips.
I mean, have you got any evidence to suggest otherwise that it's your wife? Have you tried installing
No.
closed circuit television, to see if there's
I did. I put my iPhone on selfie mode, but it ran out of battery. And I forgot she was at work, so that was a real waste, to be honest.
Well, that is a crying shame. Anyway, listen, I'm sure I speak for everybody here at the Bogcast. We thank you ever so much for coming over.
Yes.
Please enjoy your complimentary night stay in an Ibis budget with complimentary Pringles to the room.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd just echo what Granville has said. We're so grateful every time you do come over, Ray. It is always quite eye-opening, and I am sorry to hear you are having this problem with the Pringles. What's kind of your closing thoughts, Hoosh, with this?
I mean,
Yes.
I mean, with the Pringles, obviously they're a nice snack to have, but
They are, yes.
can I remind you of today's sponsor? I mean, we have
No.
some beautiful runny pies.
Oh, that sounds good.
I mean, that could be something you take back to the States.
Can I buy them on my phone? The thing is,
You can, and
they've
you-
run out of battery because I have it on selfie mode.
You can visit the website. You can use the code. Although
Do they ship to Kentucky?
they certainly do.
I don't think they do.
I could assure that they definitely do.
Okay, I will buy some.
And I guess my only other question really is, you know,
Yes.
with Kentucky, could it be the Colonel that's taking the
Oh,
Pringles?
yes, the chicken man.
He could be trying to sabotage, a competitor product, and people
Yes.
might not want to go for a KFC. If,
No, I don't think it's the general or the colonel, whatever the fuck he's called.
Yeah, we'll have
He's
none
been.
of that language
I think
on
he
this family
passed
friendly
away
podcast.
quite a while ago.
Well, we'll leave that mystery in the air. Thank you again,
That's maybe
Ray.
something we can touch at another time, Granville. Is the Colonel dead?
Well, yeah, that can be
I
into our
presume he
next
is dead, yes.
podcast. So,
I
moving
wonder
on
if
to
Pringles will,
our
the chip.
3 mysteries for the third.
Right, I'm going now, bye.
Right, thank you, Ray. Goodbye. That was
Thank you, Ray. Thank you.
yeah, that was lovely. So, what order we'd like to do this with? Let's start with Hoosh. Unsolved mysteries from history or any puzzling enigmas? What have you got for us?
Yes, this one's a road-related one, actually.
Ooh.
I was driving down the A66 last week, and it reminded me of an old mystery about 4 caravans that appeared overnight right in the middle of the road.
Ooh.
And no one knows how they got there. There were 4 static caravans, full, complete with decking, and driveways, all paved, all there overnight. And no one knows how they got there. The road was closed for 17 weeks while they dismantled said caravans.
That is quite crazy. I mean, all coming in from a professional angle, I think it's quite impressive, the turnaround time.
I mean, certainly for the United Kingdom, the turnaround time is...
What's this in the United Kingdom, Hoosh?
It was. The A66 is on the way to the Lake District, which, makes sense to some part, because obviously a lot of people go there in caravans, but generally they're towed and not static, so...
I presume there would be a lot of toads at the Lake District, yes.
Very much so, but this is a very, very strange one, and again... As Hoosh says, the sort of the logistics of getting 4 static caravans with decking and paved driveways into the middle of the Lake District, that seems like a mystery.
And this was
itself.
overnight, wasn't it?
Yeah, very much so. This is a fascinating mystery. Rugg, what do you think?
Again, just logistically, it's actually quite impressive that they would... be able to, well, I don't know how much nighttime dark. You know what? I'm bamboozled. I'm absolutely bamboozled with this one.
I'm bamboozled.
And Hooch, do we know why it was closed for 17 weeks while they just took caravans down?
Yes, it was bank holiday, so they had to wait for the crews to come and demolish it.
And it was a 17-week bank holiday.
It was the caravan celebration, which goes on for 17 weeks in Kendal, but I still don't think that quite, tells us why those caravans would have got there, overnight. These roads operate 24/7, and there would have been cars running up and down. But
There would, yes.
I'm wondering if we should move on, because I don't think any of us really have the credentials or expertise to really comment any further on this. So
No.
Shall we move on to you?
Yes, I have a quick one.
What have you got for us, Granville?
So, this is a mystery that's gone on for a long, long time, and this harks back to a location called Bromwell Stones, and there were several sightings in, I think, the 70s of she was basically described as maybe an elderly farmer's wife, and the only reports of this lady and what she would do is she'd run around half naked.
Okay, that's not a crime.
Or no, this isn't a crime, but all she would wear is a green beret and a green blouse.
Right.
And what she was said to do is she'd jump into piles of nettles.
Oh,
and
that sounds sore.
She would have intercourse with said nettles. Now,
oh dear,
this is a mystery, because to me, why would anybody want to rub nettles onto their genitalia?
I mean, people do drink nettles as wine.
And tea.
Exactly, and people do put some people put bull-sized peni up their poo pipe for pleasure. So, for me, it's not a stretch to imagine some lady in the past, getting a bit horny and jumping in a pile of feathers and sizzing them to oblivion. So for me, I'm all for it.
I wonder if she just liked the sting, really.
Yes, or she maybe, the best part was if maybe she has a husband or a wife, she used to put sudder creme on the affected areas.
Yeah, I mean, that's an excellent point. And, a lot of people do like stingy flaps. So with that being said, I don't think there's much more we can add to this weird mystery.
That is an unsolved mystery.
I think all I would maybe question is, going back to Sudocrem, were any of her family members potentially stakeholders or investors in these companies?
I don't think they were holding any stake, no.
Okay, that's fine.
Right, so I guess that the final act, so to speak, of this week's Bogcast.
Yes, and it's over to you, Rugg. What have you got for the unsolved mystery from history?
Yeah, so obviously it's going to be something a bit more simpler than old Ray's poor Pringle eating spectre. This is quite simple. This would be it's on a local rugby pitch in Todmorden, and this was during, I believe, the 80s. From the newspaper clippings.
Not too long ago.
No, it was about in the 80s. And so every time that I believe it's called a conversion when they kick the egg, in between the poles.
Yes.
Every time they did that, the ball would go into a mystical sort of cloud, and they'd never see it again. So that's quite strange, and that was in Todmorden in the 80s. So a disappearing rugby ball, it doesn't matter if it was a try, the ball would be there as normal, but some sort of dimension seemed to swallow the balls up every time a conversion was kicked over, just one side of the pitch.
See, it's funny you say that. I heard of a story on the other side of the world in the 80s where rugby balls would just appear from nowhere and hit people in the head. And I believe this was in the Seychelles.
Right.
So my idea, and this is, I'm going to broach this to you guys.
Are you spitballing here?
I'm spitballing here. Could there have been some sort of portal from Todmorden to the Seychelles that these
that does
rugby
sound
balls
likely.
were finding the way through?
That does sound quite likely. What do you think, Hoosh?
I think it could be. There could be a more simple explanation to this this mystery.
Okay.
I wonder if the balls were getting taken up at altitude with a thermal and then transported across the Atlantic in the Gulf Stream. So,
well, you've certainly tried to sort of try and break it down and try and rationalise it there, Hoosh, and I really do respect you for that. But I'm going to err on the side of caution, and I think I'm going to maybe put all my chips, sort of, so to speak, in Granville's basket, and I think it's a portal from Todmorden straight to the Seychelles, and I think we have ended this episode of the podcast with a solved mystery.
So, with that being said, that ends this week's episode of the Bogcast. Thank you all for joining, for listening along. Don't forget to comment on our social media channels, give us a like on Bebo, and don't forget to visit the very kind sponsor of this episode. We've all tried them, we all love them. Linda's Runny Pies.
Delicious.
Again, yeah. Go to the Earl in the video description, the podcast description. Use the code for 3% off or 4% onto your order, and we'll see you next time on the Bogcast. Aww.